Okay. So good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining the call again. Thank you for joining the community meeting. For those who will be watching this after now, right? But dropping in. Okay. Thank you for those who are joining in, and we'll be expecting more people to join in and people to watch. Those who will be watching YouTube after now on our community page. So thank you to you. And this morning, just like we started last week, we'll be going deeper with Bayo, who will be showing us more about fabric architecture. And last week we did a lot. Yeah, he showed us major things. And this morning we'll be going deeper and maybe going deeper this morning again. All right. So my name is Tosin Ojo again. I'm the organizer for this event. And I'll say thank you to all the community members, MCT Nigeria Tech User Group, everybody. So thank you to you, and most especially thank you to Bayo Oyetoro for of course sacrificing your time and to be a guest on this community event. Thank you so much. And I would like to yield the floor to you, Bayo. If you are ready, please let me know.
All right, thank you very much, Tosin, for the introduction. I'm ready once you're okay. All right.
Okay.
Should I proceed now? Okay.
Yes, I'm share your screen now.
All right, thank you. So I'm coming. Minute. Okay. Please let me know when my screen is up.
Yes, it's up now.
Okay, right. So welcome everyone. Thank you all for joining and wanting to improve the data space. It's really nice to be among brilliant minds and then curious minds. So yeah, let's get to today's presentation and then we kick up from there. All right. So the training is all about Microsoft Fabric platform. We're trying to understand the fundamentals, the architectures around the new product. So my name is Bayo Oyetoro. I'm a data engineer. I'm an architect. And then I'm the founder of Data Byte Analytical, where we train people. We do community workshop as well on data profession. So what we're going to be talking about today, we're going to be starting around the data warehouse and data science experience. Then we'll look at some techniques that we can use to monitor Microsoft Fabric item. Then we look at, okay, what are the career opportunities that are available for us in this space? What these two brings for us? Then we take some question and answer. So we won't waste much time today. Yeah. Before we start, let's quickly juggle around what we've learned last week. So we said the world is currently awash with data. That is a lot of data, massive data all around, from our mobile devices, from online clicks, from website clicks, from purchase history, from bank interaction, from interaction with different kind of companies. There are lots of data all around the world, which really explain the reason why there is so much interest in data these days. And then to capture the data, to really make sense of the data, to do a lot of things with the data, um, a lot of companies have actually come up with solutions. Companies, open source projects, every one icons that you see on this picture here represent a solution that can be used to either move data, store data, anyone from different companies, different establishments, open source projects. And this leaves us with a lot of dilemma, like, okay, which tools do we use? Which one work together? How do we do this? Then we are not even now focusing on the data um, usage or data process that we want to do. We are now focused more because we spend more time with the tools to get things done and all of those things. So we might lost track of what we are trying to achieve, what we are trying to do with data. So this is really tremendous. And then that's where Fabric comes into the picture. Fabric tries to like bring everything together that you won't have to be integrating one thing from one platform or the other, or bring something from this place to this place to see if it will work or something like that. So Fabric is all in one platform that can enable you to do your data extraction or injection, your data analytics, data engineering, AI and ML solution development, store your data in databases, do real-time analytics, and report it in Power BI, all in one store. And then this is now even layered with AI. Copilot is integrated into the core of Fabric. Then you can use this Copilot, an assistant, to really speed up what you do from beginning to end of your process. And the data is stored cross-board on one lake. That is, you have one, it's like one drive for data. So you don't have to be copying data around, just give access. You don't have to be moving the data all around on the platform. One data can be used here, can be used cross-board as well. And then we have Microsoft Purview that allows you to even govern your data. So these are the kind of things that you have to pull in a lot of application, a lot of things together before you can set up. But with Fabric, you don't even need to go anywhere. Everything is in one place for you. So it's not just we group everything together that is Microsoft Fabric. So there are some opportunities that come with it. The first one is this one lake approach. It means that you have one single source of truth for your reporting. That is, whatever data that you are seeing in this place is what they are seeing in this place. There's nothing like I have 100 rows, you have 50 rows, because during the copying or moving of the data, some might be lost or something like that. So you don't have to worry about the data accuracy like that. So it's a single source of truth that will allow you to have one central place where you report and use the data the way you want to use it. The second thing is scalability for large data processing. Is really, really scaled for large data processing because of the optimized approach that was used to develop Fabric. For example, Fabric is using Delta table, Delta Lake to store data, to do all of this processing and everything, which really makes the data processing to really be fast. It is powered by Spark. If you use notebook experience, you are going to enjoy the distributed computing on Microsoft Fabric. These are systems that allows us to do big data processing. And another thing is quick AI integration. That is, you can easily develop your AI and ML product or workflow any way you want, very quickly, very easily. Because in Microsoft Fabric, you will have environments, you have notebook that's powered by Spark, you have ML flow. Even the notebook that we have seen in Microsoft Fabric, it's not even just notebook that you have to go and learn Python before you can do a lot of stuff. Just your SQL experience you can use that to really work with data in the notebook. ML flow that allows you to organize and structure your project, monitor your artifact regarding ML solution is there also in the Microsoft Fabric data science experience. And even your pipeline, you can add an activity that trigger Azure machine learning solution. That is, from your data processing point, you can even submit the data to Azure machine learning solution to really train the data, get feedback, and do all of those things. And then there is also flexibility with Lakehouse architecture. Most of the places where I've worked before, majority of the time, we interact with data stored in databases. SQL Server, Postgres, MySQL. We really don't use much of unstructured data like video, online content, all of those things. But with this layout architecture integrated in Microsoft Fabric, you can do all of that now. You have your unstructured data. You also can interact with your structured data as well, cross-board. So these are just some of the experiences and opportunities that you see with Microsoft Fabric. Single source of truth, scalability, quick AI development, flexibility. Those things are really, really key and important to data profession. So let's quit the talk and head to Fabric to see some of these experiences to extend the ones that we've seen last week. We talked about data pipeline, data flow Gen 2, lakehouse creation, workspace creation last week. So we want to go to Fabric now to see these things because I believe that doing it best, not just talking about it only. Then we'll come back to the presentation. So let me stop sharing my screen and take my screen back to Microsoft Fabric environment. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Sure. So Tosin, please let me know when this other screen pops up.
Yeah, it's up.
All right. Thank you.
Thank
Okay.
you.
So if you go to app.fabric.microsoft.com, this is the platform that you're going to see. This is the interface that you're going to see. And as I said, for you to access Fabric, you need a company email. You need an enterprise email for you to use Fabric. So if you are using your company's email where the admin has allowed you to try Fabric out, you will just come to your profile here, then you will click on start trial, then you will see your trial. But if you are using like a personal developer account, mail account like mine here, you can just come here. I think you'll be the admin, then you click on start trial, then you will see 60 days trial. I think that's really, really generous from Microsoft. So the way we're going to start now today is that I'm going to go here, these workspaces. You can see some workspaces here. This is my pinned workspace that is generally available for everybody on Microsoft platform. So you can see here, this workspace has nothing. It has no diamond at the front or something like that. But if you see this one, this fabric demo, this is a workspace that I created that has diamond in front. It means this workspace can do fabric content. This one that you are seeing here is just telling me to know that this is a trial workspace, and then there are some constraints on it, or if I purchase a new license now of capacity, is not going to be there. So you can see the remaining one for this workspaces that are here. So how do you create a fabric enabled workspace? Just come to click create workspace, then you give it a name, come to advanced, then here you are going to see pro, you're going to see trial, you're going to see this. So if you don't have trial activated, this one will not be there. So you make sure that you click on the trial version, or if you buy a capacity, you click on this premium capacity, then you click on create, then you are up. Then here you can, if you have more than one capacity, you will see those capacities here. You can see this one is my trial capacity. So this is how I created this particular workspace that you are seeing here. So let's head over to the workspace. So I click on the workspace, yeah, so we are inside the workspace. Now, there are some things inside the workspace that you need to know. You can create item in the workspace. You can, like, even, let's say you want to structure your project and say, get data from this place, put it here, do all of those things. You have some templates. So let me click on pre-designed templates from Microsoft. You can see get data, mirror data, store the data, analyze the data, prepare it, visualize, track, something like that. Let's look at something that is really, really common these days, which is the medallion architecture. That is, you are trying to move your data from one point to another location, but during the process of moving it, you've done some transformation. You move it to another place again, you've done some transformation. So the quality is incremental as you go through those checkpoints that they call layers. So it can be bronze, silver, and gold, silver, bronze, and gold. So those are the ones that are there. And you are seeing this medallion architecture now. You can still get data from different sources. We store it somewhere, we prepare it and store it in another place. We prepare it again and store it in another place. So this is the goal layer where we visualize. And the importance of this is not just for aesthetics. What it means is that you can click one of these guys and add, let's say, data pipeline. This place you might be using shortcuts. You can add shortcuts. You can add, like, let's say, data flow gen 2 notebook to this particular place. So anytime you click on one of these, it's going to show those items that are particular to that point, so that you can have, like, let's say, maybe 50 items that you created for project. You don't need to be scrolling and scrolling. Just click on one, you'll be able to see exactly what's going on in that particular point. So that is the first thing, but we'll not be going into that today. So let me try to extend everything so we see things clearer. Now, the experience that we are going to go through today is going to start from the lakehouse. So lakehouse, that's the store data activity. So let's go to, we want to create a lakehouse. I search for lakehouse. You can see Lakehouse here. So what Lakehouse is just doing is it allows you to upload data and then structured and unstructured one. Then let's call this one Lakehouse and then let's call it raw. Let's just call it raw like this. Now let's enable this schema. So once our Lakehouse to have some sort of organization, that is, let's say we pull data from sales, we want to put it in sales, we want to carry data from finance, we put it in finance. So that is just going to create the schema that we need. So let's create a workspace that has a lakehouse that has a schema and see what that looks like. Now, immediately you create a lake house, you can come back to your workspace and see that you have a lake house and you have this SQL endpoint. This SQL endpoint is typically like a data warehouse. So it's a data warehouse where you can use your SQL to interact with it. And also you will see this semantic model. That is, data is also stored in semantic model in this area. So those are the things that you get when you create a lakehouse. So let me refresh so that everything will be structured together. Yeah, as you can see now, you can see everything belongs to this lakehouse now. So, and if you delete the lakehouse, the two of them are deleted automatically. So we have SQL endpoint, we have lakehouse itself. So let's go to the lakehouse experience and see what is there. Yeah. So in the lake house, today you can see now that I have DBO. I didn't select that schema. I will not have this. So let me create a new schema so that we can see. You can see me creating a new schema, and I call this one, let's say, sales. So any data that is pertaining to sales, I can put it inside this schema sales. I can do another one and say maybe finance, audit, HR. I can do all of those schema marketing to make sure my data is well structured. So these are the advantages that you get to have. That is structured data can come here. Now you can see this one, files. Files can come in from any place. You can have your files stored in S3 or data on Google Cloud Platform. So you can now bring those data here. And how do you bring those data? Is that you just come here, right click, just click on the three dots, then you create a new shortcut. Once you create a new shortcut, you are just going to provide the name of your bucket, the access keys that you have, then you will see the data here, right here. It's going to manifest here. And it's not exactly copying it. What it's just doing is just pointing to that place. So anytime you now want to query the data, and you don't even want it to just be going to like AWS every time because you are going to incur some cost as you are trying to data. So what you can just do is that you can enable cache when you are doing it. So um, that's that about to point to external storage that is like from other clouds. Enable cache when you want your data to be persisted a while inside Fabric. Then you will just be querying your cache. And any file that is bigger than a gig or 5 gig, I think, you will not be able to catch it beyond that point. So now let's try to upload a couple of data that I have on my local to really demonstrate the experience of notebook, of data lake, Delta Lake, Delta tables, managed tables, and then maybe give us a sense of data science experience. So I want to go to I want to upload folder. So I click on upload folder, then I click on this guy here. I have a folder here called sales raw data, right? So, okay, let me even just upload them here like this now. So I just want to upload. It's telling me that six items are going to be uploaded. I said no problem. Let's upload it. We can see now location one, location two, order one, order two, order three. You can see all of them. I think almost a megabyte so that we can be fast. That's why I pick this small one. So now let's go to our files now in our lakehouse. You can see if you click on this drop down, you won't see anything, right? Because you are inside, you are just trying to see this. If there's any folder inside these spaces, we show it. So you can just click on the file itself, on the folder itself, then you will be able to see the data that is there. You can see this guy. If you want to preview it in, I think in file setting, you can view it as a table very quickly to see what's going on. This is a file. You can see Which one are we looking at now? Location one. You can see other ID, location ID, city. You can change it to table format. Then you can see like this, right? So you can see that that is essentially what we have. It's now even not even detecting the schema of this particular one, but we'll get there. So I can say first row as header. You can see here. So this is just you previewing the data. You're not even doing anything with the data already. So now we've seen how we upload data there. Now let's try to like use Notebook to work with this data. Now, here you go back to your workspace, you just create a new item, then you click on notebook, then the notebook will be created. But I already have a notebook here created. Yeah, so let me just go to the notebook. Let me just go to the notebook. Here it's trying to like come up. Okay, so in this notebook, you can see this thing that you are seeing here. For a notebook to work, this particular notebook to work, you have to point to a data store, like a place where you keep your data. Okay, this data is somewhere. I want to use notebook to get it and do all of those things. Now, this one that you are seeing that is pointing error is because I have it there before and I deleted the lakehouse. So how do you add something to your notebook? So you click on create notebook and the notebook you can rename it up here. So let's just go down and call it maybe note let's just call it NB process data, MB data. So you can even give it a sensitivity label, maybe confidential, public, all of those things. Those are data governance part of it. So now here, I want to add a data source. So it's telling me new lakehouse, existing lakehouse. So let me just click on existing one because we have created the lakehouse before. So you can see here, it's already showing you inside this workspace, you have this particular one. At this point, there's another workspace. You can click on those lake houses as well and use it right here. So this is the only lake house that I have. I click on the lake house and then it's coming up. Now, the lakehouse is going to be here as one of my data source. That is, I can use the data or anything that is inside that place now here in the notebook. But let's delete this one that I have there before. But you can see I can't remove it. It's because it's my default location. So let me click on this one and set it as default. This one that we just created together. I'll click on this guy, then I remove it now. So you can see. And if I go through my file, my content is the same thing as what I was seeing earlier in the Lakehouse experience, just that now I am inside my notebook. Now, to run a notebook, you need compute. You need some sort of compute. And the compute here in Fabric is actually powered by PySpark. There's PySpark there. So, and it has some what's it called? It has some dependencies that are being integrated in this notebook by default. Some things that you don't need to be installing. You know, if you are running, I think, PySpark locally, you have to do import PySpark, all of those things. Here, there are some things that are there by default, like I think Azure ML, all of those modules are there. Now, things get a little bit fancy here. You can create a new environment. So let's say I want to work on some data and I want to use, let's say, OpenAI model to do some things. Let's say I want to use LLM. I want to use some other API from OpenAI. And I don't want to just pip install and go and do all of those things. I will just come to this environment here and say, I want to create a new environment. Here too, in your notebook, in your workspace rather, you can create an environment actually. Okay? So yeah, this is an environment here. So let me click on create environment from this place and not that notebook. So the environment is supposed to pop up anytime now. So let's call it ENV. I think most people call it VENV. So let's call it VENV and make it look like that. So virtual environment, we are trying to create a new environment now. And then is you can see now that we have some built-in libraries, we have some public libraries, and we have some custom library that we can set as well. So let's click on Python. You can see built-in is nothing. Then now let's now add it from somewhere. let's try to add OpenAI. As you are typing it, it's trying to like figure out some things. So okay, I really don't know which of these OpenAI is actually for OpenAI. So let me just go for scikit-learn. Yeah, this is scikit-learn. This one is, you can see now, I can even select the version. So let's say I click on version 1.5. Then I want to save this particular one. Then I also want to add, let's say, pandas. Let me add one more. Let's do pandas. What type of pandas? I want to install pandas. Any one version that you want. So let's save the workspace. So the workspace is being saved. And then, okay, so it's saved successfully. Then you can publish it so that you can see it everywhere you go. So let's publish. It's going to take a while actually. Let's try to head over back to our notebook experience. So in the notebook experience, you will see change environment. Then you can see the environment that we created. That particular, those things that we installed, all of them are going to be here. So you can package all the dependencies that you need inside each environment. You don't need to be worried about which one am I people installing for this project. Your company can even set it and say, data science. These are the dependencies I want you to be using. So that is actually cool. And one thing about this now is that for you, that's about environment. The second part of this is that you can pick your language that you want. You can choose T-SQL, you can choose Spark SQL, you can choose Python, you can choose R. So let us get to like even run something in this notebook. For you to start running the notebook, you have this thing, a session. You have to create a session in your PySpark. Now, you can create a standard session. You can create a new high concurrency session. That is, let's say my experience, my data pipeline has one notebook that extract data, transform it. I created another workspace that do, let's say, AI ML training, but I don't want them to spin up different sessions. I can just say high concurrency session, that is, create one session. That session is what you are going to be using for all the subsequent notebooks. So those are the kind of things that we have there. And you can even customize your own session. So let's click on the standard session and start so that the thing can come up really quick. You can see it's starting, it's connecting, right? So, all right. So the session is on now. And if you don't run any code in your notebook after a while, the session is automatically brought down so that you will not go and incur a lot of cost. So let's try to now say, what do we do here? I want to, from PySpark, I want to install all the functions, the SQL functions. So you can see here, this is PySpark environment. You can turn it to Markdown. You can do all of those things. So let's try to run one. Yeah. If you go right here and try to run it without starting the session will start first before the code runs. So yeah, you can see now it's successful. But one of the most important thing here is that you can see the logs. For people that are very, very good with PySpark, they would have been seeing the logs that are here and see exactly what they want or extract what you even want out of it. So let's go to this place, this one. Don't worry about the code. I think this is not a session to teach Python. So I will assume that, okay, Python is something that we handle separately. So this particular code block that you are seeing here is actually just going to Azure Data Storage. It's getting the New York data, and then it's trying to put it in my notebook. That's what it's just trying to do. So let's try to run this code now. Now you can see it's getting the New York data set for 2016. It's getting 4 months. Then I'm putting it on a path. I'm reading it as package. Then I'm trying to save it somewhere. Now, so what now happens? As you run this thing, it's submitted as a job. So the job is here. You can see this is the job that is here, that is done. You can investigate separate jobs and see. This is for people that are actually very deep on PySpark as well. So these are jobs. This is even child jobs here. you can click on this job to see how those things work. If you want to change your, let's say you want to optimize, you want to check shuffle, all of those things, you do it from, you can investigate it from here, which is quite cool. You can come to resources and see what was used to do this. We said Spark are actually distributed computing. We can see the number of cores that this thing used. It allocated it. Max that was used, max instance was 72. It was saying don't use beyond this one. Don't use beyond this one. You can see over time what it did, how many how the resource allocation goes. You cannot even check the logs. So all of these things are something that you struggle to do before, but now all of it is in one place, right? Now, this second one that we are doing here is just to optimize. We call it V order. So V order is trying to is an algorithm that is from Microsoft, I think in-house. So that V order is what they use to optimize data right. So now we've done that. We've tried to okay, say we run this field. I necessarily don't need to run this though. Now, so let's now try to write our data inside Microsoft Fabric table. So let's see how that goes. I think because of the schema, we might even go further and put some sort of schema here and all like that. But that shouldn't be an issue. You should just go to DBO, I think. So you can see the job is running. You can monitor the job. You can see all of those things that are running here. You can see the number of rows that is being processed. You can easily see all of those things. And now you can see the speed. This is 12 million rows that we are talking about, right? You can see the data, the amount of megabyte or gig that is there. You can see the write speed. You can see all of these things as it's running. These are the things that you can even pay attention to know the kind of resources that you allocate to your PySpark as it's running. So these are opportunities for you to go deeper. You can see 1 gig of file, 2 gig being processed at a very tremendous speed. You can see 2 gig in how many seconds? 56 seconds. This is the power of Spark. Now, I think our data should be somewhere around here already. Let's check here. Nothing is there. So let's refresh this. Let's refresh the entire lake. Now, let's see what's going to happen. We should have a delta table now. So we'll still talk more about data tables. You can see now there's a new what's it called? There's a new data schema. So this thing already now you can write it to a schema. So these are the logs and everything. So let me refresh. Anytime you see this unidentified, that means something is there to be done correctly. So yeah. So I think it probably does because of the schema. Let me try to do this. Um, let's do this. Let's do this. Come on. Try to check what is inside there. Let's even check the logs. Yeah. So here, these are the files, right? These are the files that we just do now. We can see all of them here in pack A and all of those things. Let's read one of these data. So maybe the next time that you're trying to let's say you are trying to run your own, if we specify the Spark, if you specify the what's it called, the path to the file, then you'll be able to write in schema. So even you can even use Copilot here, to quickly do something if you want to change it. Okay, let's do write to schema DBO. Okay, so I think I don't enable file. I disable Copilot at some point inside my experience, so that's why it won't work. I guess I have to go and configure the setting back. It's because of some people that's why I disabled the Copilot for some stuff. Is charging us a little bit. So these are the files basically. You can even read the file. Let's say you try to read it as Spark. Let's see what will happen. If you try to read it as Spark, it's going to come here, then try to grab the data and then run it, display it, something like that for you. Then you see your data, you see a lot of things. You can see the data now, right? So you can see those Parquet files, everything that you imported, everything is there. So that's that about this import. So this is not, you can just make sure that it's coming. The reason why it comes as a schema is because we enable schema on these things. and then we didn't specify the schema in the code. So that's why it came there. It would have just come as a normal delta table, but we will see delta table in action. That doesn't really matter. So let's scroll down here. This is another option that you can use to like what do you call it? Another way that you can import your data. You can use import, you can use all of those things. So here, what we are trying to do is just that we are trying to use request. And then we are just trying to get the data inside this place, inside this file place. So we wrote one that is supposed to come as the delta. Then we now write another one that is supposed to even come as a, what's it called? That is supposed to come as what do we call it now? That's supposed to come as a fast. So let me grab, it's throwing error now. You can see saying that the its custom data is not defined, right? So let me get the custom data. I think I put it somewhere here on my local PC so that I will just point to the path exactly. Mm, It's coming up. It's coming up here. Starting the workspace. Okay. Okay, right. So let's get to it. Okay, we are trying to ingest the data. So let's copy I want to copy the path that is not defined now. So okay, so let me copy that one and bring it to my notebook. So let me add the, okay, I think I ran the code up here. Was it run? So let me run it again. So I run this part again, just trying to give it like, okay, the direct this data folder. I'm just trying to specify the folder, just give it a variable, right? Then I will now run this one again. So the reason why this one didn't work before is that I didn't run this part first. So it's not seeing all of those variables. So I ran it again. So if I rerun this code now, everything should work well. So you can see now, it's telling me that demo data file is downloaded into the lakehouse. So let's refresh. Here now we see a new folder called churn. I think churn, I'm coming. It should be churn. Yeah, so churn is here. So let's see what is inside churn. Raw, there's nothing again. So let us click on the raw itself and see what is inside the raw. We can see churn CSV is inside raw. Then you can also read this one too as a pandas or something. So let's read this one too as a spark. So let's try to read this as a spark. Then we try to like, you can see now that this is the data that we have inside. So there is a lot of things that you can do to this one, like clean it up, transform, and all of those things. Yeah. So we have our data set like that. So you can see the thing that we are just trying to show here is that your notebook is powered by Spark. It can process a lot of things into tables, into files, anyway, anyhow you want it, right? So now that's about the notebook experience. But one thing that is now even more powerful here is that we can now begin to like think of this as, okay, yeah, we have the opportunity now to do something around what do we call it now? Data science. We can now begin to train our machine learning model inside this place, do all of those things that we want to do inside this experience. So let's see, let me get rid of okay, there's no need to get rid of these guys. So let's do something else. You know, we uploaded some files, right? We uploaded some file a while ago. So these are the file. Let's see. You can see location 1, location 2, location 3. So far we've just been writing some. We didn't even write. I just show you some Python code. So now I want to even see. I uploaded a file and I want to use it to do data science. Or I even want to store it at a table. All of those things. What do I do? How do I get from there? And I don't know how to like write, let's say, Python code, for instance. So what do you do? What are your options? The first option that you have is right click on this guy and then load it inside Spark. Just click load in Spark or load in Pandas. It will write the code here that you will use to do once you run it, it's going to show you the data. Then you can now begin to write your other code to do that. So that's one thing, one experience. So let's go through that experience together now. I click on let's pick something very tangible. Let's pick the others. Let's pick others. And I say pandas. So you can see the code is automatically generated here now. So let's give it a new name and say df others, and then we also want to call this one to df others. So let's call this one like that. Let's do it this way. So what we are basically doing here is that we are reading a CSV file that has header, and then the rows are like this. So the part is that. So we want to run this one now. So we'll see the data coming out. At this point, I got rid of this option header through what you will see at the top is going to be C1, something like that. Now you can see that this data now is not seeing the data type of this ID is ABC. Fine. The one of other dates is not correct, right? If this one too is not correct, they are supposed to have something like calendar at the top, not ABC or something like that. So let us input one line of code here to even transform this guy as well. So let me grab that from the notebook itself here. So let's grab here, and then let me paste it inside this place. Now, so DF orders. Now, up there, I did pip. Sorry, I did from something import this SQL function. The function that you are going to use, they are available inside that thing. So anytime you run into error, always import the necessary module. So now here, I'm just trying to say I want to I want to transform other dates in this place. I want to transform it. You can see to date function, and I give the format at which that thing exists now. So I want to use that to do, you will see the name will change. The header here will change automatically. So let us change that. You will see. You can see now that this one has changed to calendar. So this means it's in date format. You can also do the same thing with this guy now, right? But that's not the end of what we can do. If you display something, you can easily use data wrangler to do some things on it. You can download the data set here. Now let's do a new chart. Let's quickly do a chart. You can see a chart that was suggested for us already. It already did some sort of count. If you scroll down here, you can see different type of chart that you can get from this guy. So you can see this one now. It already counts the first class, standard class. It already grouped them into class per product category. You can do all of those things now in Microsoft Fabric Notebook. You can even create your own charts, your custom charts that you have. So this notebook is really advanced notebook. It's not just a regular notebook, actually. That's the point that we are trying to drive at. So we already have some data now inside this thing, inside our notebook. We have data that we imported like this. So how do we do it that we will use SQL to query this data? So that's what we want to do now here. So you can either write the data back. Let's say you finish transformation, you can write it back, but that's not the goal. So what we are trying to do here is that for you to be able to transform this into SQL that you want to use, you must create a data frame. Like you must create a temp table. So let me come here now and paste this guy here. So I name my stock orders, right? So DF orders, I say create or replace. Let me call it let's just call it tables or table one. Let's just call it table one or orders table, right? Orders. So let's call it orders. Now, if I run this thing, it's going to it's going to register this thing as a temp table inside my PySpark. That's when I can now use this data frame. This thing is going to create, this is a data frame. I created a data frame from this code here, read for my CSV, I save it as a data frame, but I don't want to continue working with data frame. I have to create the data frame as a table or a view. So it's already here now. So now let's now interact with it. How do you interact with it? You can either come here to pick SQL, or you do something like this, percent SQL. You see automatically this thing changed to Spark SQL, right? So what do I want to do? Let's say I want to select people that are good with SQL too, they have opportunities here. So select from, let's say, others, I think. Yeah, so this is the others now. But I don't want to read everything. Let's limit by 10. We just want to see the first 10 rows. you can now see the data is now coming in SQL. You can use it to build chart like that. So you don't necessarily need to know how to use Fabric. Sorry, PySpark for you to. So you have different opportunity. For people that are using R again, just do your come here and change it to Spark R. Then you for people that are coming from Scala background as well, they can do the same thing. So you can basically do a lot of stuff. Let's now even say I have more than one, I put orders. Let's even carry these sales as well too. Let's pick one of the sales and say load as Spark. So let's call this one DF sales, right? And then we don't want to display the sales for now, right? So what we just want to do to the sales is that we want to create the sales too as a temporary table. So I say DF, I want to do sales and call this one sales. So now I want to create the second table too as sales, the second thing to as sales. So I have two tables now. This is orders. Let's change this one to sales. Oh, sorry, that's a mistake here. It's not going to work. So let's cancel. Okay, right? So let me rerun this guy now. You can see sales is already there. And we have sales ID in both. So you can come here now and say your sales, let's call this thing as, let's call it S. Then we want to do a join. Join orders. We call it O on S dot, I think, order ID is equal to O dot order ID. So if you join these two guys, you will see that you can join them. So the result of your join, you can see the column is already much more longer now because in sales, we have limited details. But when we join it with orders, we saw the order description like the customer, the date, the shipping item, everything that we can see before, they stop around somewhere around here. But now we can see more details now, right? Then you can now save this data frame back as a table or as a notebook. So there are two ways to save these things, right? So we want to save this data frame now. Let's do something. So what we can do is that we can just do something like Spark SQL. So what we can do is just that we can say joined data. We can say Spark dot SQL. Then we open close bracket. Here now, we want to write our code. That's the thing that is important there. So we now want to write some codes here. Yeah, so let's do escape. So inside this place, we can now begin to now say, we carry our code that is there up here, then we drop it here, right? So this is basically our code that we have. Let me select PySpark. This is just Spark, right? So as you're trying to join that, what's going to happen is that it's going to process the result and save it as joined, right? So let me do join. You can see the join now is already saved as a data frame. So now I can now write the data frame back to either a table or so let me write the join to show you two type of things that we can do here. So let me come here and say, I think I name it just joint, not joint here. So now in this join now, what I'm trying to do is write it as delta and save it into as tables, right? Let's see where it will go to. So let's run something. Let's do something like this. I think if we put something like a DBO at the front, we should be able to. Okay, so you're saying that the DBO part doesn't exist. I think that's it. Okay, you can see. You're saying column ID already exists. Oh, wow. So let's just pick one column because two columns are bearing ID. It doesn't know the name to save it. So let's pick one of the IDs. Let's just pick sales. Let's pick two columns, sales quantity. Let's just pick those two things and then customer ID, I guess. All right. So, sorry, other ID to be there, definitely. So we have to just specify which one do we want. Let's pick the one from sales and run this particular one. So you can see it is done now, right? So let's try to like write this guy inside the table. But I guess if this part is going to be available for us. Okay, so he's trying to submit the job. Let's see where it comes to here. Let's refresh. Okay, let's see where it goes to. Okay, so you can see it here. This is what we're saying. And this is how this one is supposed to be like. Now you can see because I put the schema this time around, you can now see that I have a data frame that I use SQL to orchestrate. Then I have it here as a table. So inside this table now, this table is what we call managed table. This table, you write it directly. There's no file that is having this join, right? So you can even query this table, do anything that you want to do, right? Cool. But there's another way that you can write it. So let's see the second way. The second way of writing it is now you write it as external table. So let me run this thing now, and then here, let me delete this join that we have here. Now, what I'm doing here is that I'm trying to write this one. I'm not writing it as save as table here or whatever. I'm just writing it inside this file, and we'll be able to tell the difference of what is going on here. So this thing is already telling me that I think let's see why it's throwing the error. An error occur while calling this one lake something. So I think what we can do now is let me even refresh this. I guess if it fails, I guess that it's saying bad request. Oh, is it a bad request? Maybe something is wrong with the code itself fundamentally. So let me try to get the path again correctly. So I'm going to get the relative path, then I'll paste it out here. Okay, so let's do this. Let's just use this guy. Let's just use this guy and save it here. If we really wanted to. Let's see if this one will work. Yeah, so it's definitely what I just changed the path. So here now, I refresh. We are going to see some data now. You can see now I have a joint table data. So inside the data, we have some logs, right? Inside this table, you will see it's just package file that you see here. It's just package file, nothing. You are writing it as a file. So it's from this file that you can now load this file as a table or something. That is, you will move the file that is not moved. You run this file as a table inside this place. That one is external table. But the difference is that if you delete this guy, your data is gone. But a table that you write externally here and you delete it, the underlying file is still going to be there. So those are the two differences that you have there. So by now, we've seen that this notebook can do more than anything that we want. We can even specify partition, do all of those things, all of those fancy stuff. Fine. That's one way to work with your data from notebook and turn it to tables or do all of those things. But if we go back to our lakehouse and refresh, let's try to I think refresh all. So let's refresh everything that is here. We will see all of those things that we work with inside our notebook here. Cool. So let's see something. I don't even want to go through the route of notebook or do anything. Here, I just come to my data. I now say, I right click on one of the cells. I just say load as table as a new table. I can put the schema. I can say the header is this. I just click on load. Now you will see what will happen. It's going to come here to this schema that I put there. Then my sales data will be there. All right. I can come here to and pick orders. And also, while this one is loading, that other one won't process. So let's wait for a while for it to actually do its magic. So it's done. I can write my orders to now and say load it as table, a new table, right? Then I write it inside. So I now have two tables that I wrote from my CSV file directly to this place without stress. So let's see how we can even query this data now, because we've been saying we want to, we can use SQL inside our notebook or anything. What if that one is overwhelming? You just upload your CSV, you load it as a table, then you come here, this up here. You will see lakehouse, then you come to SQL endpoint. That's the one that look like a data warehouse. So anytime you create a data warehouse, it's even going to look like this. You can see up here data warehouses. Now, this one is probably going to look more familiar to people now. So let me create a new query. Now, in my DBO, I have some tables. It's already looking like SQL. You have functions, you have store procedures, you have everything that you want to do. This is like a normal SQL table. So you can see that we come from files, we come to tables, and then we come to data warehouse that like SQL place that we can use to query it. So let's do count of our joint data. Let's select our data. But this one now is T-SQL. That's the only thing. So you can't use limit. T-SQL doesn't do limit. So let's just do top three from joined managed table. And I run this query. You are going to see that the result is going to pop out here, right? So I think you can see now. So the data is already here. I can go ahead and say, okay, let's join the sales that we do the other time too. But that's one. Oh, let's do, okay, sorry, let's just do and do join, right? Join, let's say join with sales. Yeah, so we can join with sales here and we have our result and everything. And you can save your query and say anytime you come back, your query will be there. You just save it. You can create views, you can do all of those things. And most importantly, how do you go from this place? Let's say you have file installed, you move it to tables, you now begin to query it. You now want to visualize something. You just need to come to reporting, come to new report. Once you come to new report, a Power BI is going to be using any of these things that you want. So let's pick maybe one of these tables. Let's just pick, it's going to have, like make available all of these things. So let's see what's going on here. So, okay, it's trying to create a new Power BI report now, for instance. You can see how we quickly move from data, do all of those things to this place. So let's do count of the agents that we have. So I want to do the count of my agents, right? I don't want this, I want the count. So let's do count things. That is, I have, let me change the visual. I change it to this. I have 15K agents. Then you can begin to build your report and all of those things just from this place, right? So let's do save. So that is all about how you can move from lakehouse, virtual environment, to notebook experience, to warehouse experience, then to Power BI experience. And inside your notebooks, you can, don't forget, you can train your machine learning model. There are a lot of machine learning, inbuilt machine learning models that are inside. So that is that about you building those things. But I know our time is almost up. So let me quickly walk you through the monitoring part of it that we talked about, that we said we'll look at. So how do you monitor some stuff? Monitor in Microsoft Fabric is done by layers. So the first one that you have is your monitor hub. Always come here. Now you can see in this place, you see my notebook in progress, all of these things in progress. You see some work that are failing. You can filter the status to pick the one that you want. And each of these things has clicking, different clicking experience. So if you click on semantic model, if you click on notebook, if you click on pipeline, they are going to take you to different interfaces, right? Based on what you have. So that is when you can check the logs, what is happening there, historical runs. Let's check the historical runs of the semantic model. You can see when it has been running, how many times it used to run. You can even add more column. If you come up here, you can select more column and say, I want to know the capacity where it's run. I want to know the duration. Then if you do that, let's see here. Let's just select the capacity and then the end time. Okay, right? Okay, okay. So that one should just basically work. So let's refresh. Mhm. I think that that one is still a little bit sensitive, but normally when you click it and press your enter, you will be able to see the runs and all of those things. Now, that is that about you trying to see, monitor the experience from an eye level perspective. All your, if you put capacity here or workspaces here, you can filter by workspaces and say, I want to know everything that happened in a particular workspace, even the workspace that is not, it's just for admin, really. Another thing that we now have is this, what they call capacity metrics. So this one is inbuilt by Microsoft. You just have to install it. How do you install it? Just come down here inside this fabric. Oh, sorry, that's an mistake. No, that was a mistake. So just come here inside this fabric. Wow, this annotate is annoying, right? Let's just get rid of that. I don't know how to move it up. So what is here is just that just come to from fabric, change it to Power BI, you will see apps. If you change it now, you will see apps. Is in this app that you will just install an app. You will just say get app, then you get your fabric metric capacity. So once you get that, you'll be able to see your fabric capacity. So how do we do that? What is inside it? Is a lot of cost. Fabric costs some money if you don't do things the right way. So you can tackle some things. You can see what is going on here, right? So I can select let's say I want to select my capacity. So as I select my capacity, I can see what I'm using over time, what is going on here, and do all of those things. So that is another metric. Another place where you can monitor. You have monitor hub. The second one, you have fabric capacity. Then fabric capacity monitoring. Then the next one that you have is this feature usage. So in this feature usage report, so you will install it the same way you install your stuff, that fabric capacity. This one too, it will show you what you are using over time. 24 activity. This is report generated by Microsoft itself. So you can see active user, who is using this, who is costing us money, where are we doing this? You can use that experience to do that. So that is basically about monitoring. And you can even go to the workspace itself. Let's say I head over to my workspace here in the demo. I can begin to click on this icon and see by itself what exactly is going on inside the app. So I can right click this guy and say I want to see the recent runs. It's going to give me some stuff. If it's data pipeline, it's going to give me a way to monitor it better, all of those things, error messages. You can see it is running. This one is stopped. This one is doing all of those kind of stuff. You copy the ID here. You can go inside again to go and see what is running inside it. That is where you begin to like monitor appropriately. So you can monitor up your apps, the two apps that we talked about, and the last one, you can even go to the workspace or the item itself to see how the item is doing. So that is that about the monitoring part of Fabric. And then the last one that I promised somehow is these opportunities that we have in Microsoft Fabric. I think that's probably what's going to be the most interesting part for people here is we do have we've talked about the hands-on experience. So let's go to the next one, really. Okay, here. So what are the career opportunities that are here for you if you try to like learn Fabric? First thing is that Fabric is an ecosystem that is still developing right now. They are adding a lot of products, a lot of features to it, and it can do a lot of things. You can see from that Fabric notebook itself, you can do plenty of things. You can do a lot of things, and you don't have to be worrying about I have to install Spark, I have to install this, all in one space. And the opportunities that are there is that you can become a Fabric administrator. That is, you can begin to be the one to monitor, to give access. You are not even doing data processing. You are just monitoring and administering for your organization. It's a lot of money. There's Fabric consultants and solution architects. I've consulted for at least maybe six companies right now on how to set up Fabric, what they are using, why they can use Fabric, how they can leverage it, build the POC for them. It shows that there's career opportunity for people that know how to use Fabric. So I've consulted for a couple of companies. They are doing a lot of POCs. You can even become a data governance professional inside Fabric. You want to be the one to do certifications and licensing, Microsoft Purview access, who have access to this data. You can become a data governance person inside Fabric. Then traditional data citizens, like I've seen my engineers, my analysts actually turning to engineers, turning to scientists really quick because it's becoming easier for them to learn with Fabric. So you can easily switch your role from data analyst to data engineer to data analyst, data scientist to anyone that you want. It's already very easy now. You don't need to go far and be looking for what's not lost. Inside one place, you can easily do your switch. And then there are more empowered business owners. So if you're a business person, you use Fabric, it empowers you to do more. So how do you do all of these things? How do you make this out? First thing is learn it, learn. And then there's no better way to learn than build. If you tell me that you are just learning it, you are not building it, it's not working out. And Microsoft Fabric is generous enough with 60 days. In 60 days, if you learn and build, you people get to like know what you do. And then there's no way you have to do some credibilities is do the certifications, learn it, build it, then write the exam, the P600, the P700, write it and get it out of the way so that people will know that, okay, this person is trusted. Then evangelism is trying to like say, put your word out there. If you are learning it, you are building it, you are getting a certification, and people don't know, they will see that they will not even know. You have to register your interest in people's mind, in companies' mind by pushing your work out there, sharing your project, doing all of those things together. So I think that's the end of the presentation today. So thank you. If you have questions, you can like start to answer. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Bayo. I
Yeah.
appreciate it. Thank you so much. You've said it all. Everybody can come into becoming the data engineer or analytics engineer, just with the opportunity of Fabric, Microsoft Fabric. So you can, yeah, okay, Destiny, yeah, Flo, Destiny, go on.
Yeah. Good morning. Thank you so much, Bayo. Thank you so much, Tosin. Good morning, everyone. I've just been enjoying the demo, the walkthrough. Everything was really interesting. Thank you so much for that. Um, my question is, I'm currently learning about Fabric, trying to transition from the traditional data analyst to a data engineer with Microsoft Fabric. So I am not seeing a lot of opportunities, like obviously like data analyst roles that are really saturated at the moment. So that's the major motivation for me for learning Fabric, for the global opportunities, of course, the higher pay and the benefits of using Fabric. Just like you said, you can easily switch from data analyst to a data engineer or data scientist or an ML engineer because of everything is within an integrated platform where you can learn these workloads, and work with a data engineer or data scientist and the likes. So I just want to know, like, what are the things given your background, your experience as a Fabric consultant, what are the things that someone who is trying to get a job as a Microsoft Fabric data engineer, what are the things that you would expect them to know if they are to really um put themselves out there and get these jobs? What are the things that you feel they should know, the basic things that they should know that companies would really require from someone who claims to know how to use Microsoft Fabric? Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Destiny.
Okay. Thank you, Destiny. Yeah, I think you are in the right place because if you are trying to learn microfabric now, I can tell you the number that we have in adoption of fabric last year. It has almost X3 of the numbers of adoption that we have this year. That is already growing, and Microsoft is making sure that people are adopting this. Even some Power BI licenses are being collapsed back to fabric licenses. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of wave coming that side, so you're in the right space. Now, what we normally expect from people that want to like say, okay, I'm a data fabric engineer, or I'm a data engineer that can use fabric, or I'm a data analyst, data scientist that can use fabric workspace. The bottom line now is that everything is generally flat because that's the truth. The truth about me saying being flat is that they expect you entry place is for you to even be able to know how do you manage these things that will not incur cost. In a place where I've seen people setting it up, in 2 weeks, the analyst set up activator, data lakehouse, data warehouse. They didn't even know how to turn things off or turn things down or whatever. What I will first advise you to know is that you must know the architecture. Okay, what options do I have if I want to ingest data? What option do I have if I want to store data? What option do I have if I want to visualize the data? All of those three things, for injection, storage, and reporting, those three ones must even be clear first. If you now go into those things in detail, let's say you pick the data ingestion, you must be able to know that, okay, if I use copy activity, I can use it to connect to this. If I use shortcut, I'll be able to connect to this. I must save this thing in Delta table. And these things are actually captured critically in the documentation in a very structured manner. So it's not just say you just go and learn it the way you want it. It's a lot of things for you to know. Let me share my screen to show you let's say, just come here and say fabric documentation, for instance. These are what you are expected to even know in the first place for them to, like, say, you can see this is the fabric documentation. Here, as a data engineer, if you come to this place, you will learn a lot about step by step of how to do data engineering. And don't forget, data engineering and data factory, they are almost working together like this. This is where they will teach you that, okay, let me click on one of these now. I say data factory. Data factory is a lot of things together. They will come here now and say, what is data factory? If they tell you what data factory is, that, okay, data factory, these are a group of things that you need to learn and everything. They will even tell you how to pick the best one out of your option, all of those things. So as an engineer, you are expected to know how to process your data efficiently, how to store your data efficiently for other people to use. But don't cap it these days. They want you to finish the work. You must know how to report it. And you coming from data analyst background, you have edge than just a typical data engineer. So you must know how to ingest your data, how to process it, how to store it and report it. And you don't even need to know a lot of code. That's the fun part. You don't need to know a lot of code. If you know like very huge amount of Python, you can be using the notebook. If you don't know how to use a lot of code, use data flow gen 2 or data pipeline, all of those things. To schedule your work is very interesting. Just click to give yourself notification. Do it. So by that, you'll be able to see that you can show companies and say, I can do this, I can do that, I've done this, I've done that, I have my certification here and there. Then you are good. I don't know if that addresses your point.
Yeah, I think that is detailed, to be honest.
Yeah, thank you so much, Bayo. So, one more question, sorry. Like, can you recommend like YouTube videos where we can go and, you know, sometimes these documentations are not really easy for some of us. We just prefer like YouTube videos where we get to see the hands-on, the real work.
Okay,
So,
okay,
could you
okay.
please recommend any?
Yeah, okay. But I have like a comprehensive place where you can visualize, learn it on YouTube. But I will also advise you can learn very tiny thing on YouTube. But to become proficient on how to do some corny things that can really improve performance. YouTube person too is just pushing content like every one of us, right? So I would advise you that maybe some of these days, get time to patiently be reading documentation. It's very challenging when we first start. But as time goes on, when you read one part, you will not be overwhelmed again, one by one, short by. I would recommend documentation, please. But on YouTube, to get you started up and running very fast, there is a guy on YouTube. I think his name is what's his name? Will. Yeah. So let's do fabric Will. So I will send you the link now. So Will has two places. So I would advise you to start from this DP600. So let me come to his profile. In his profile, come to playlist. This playlist, it has DP700, DP600. Click on this DP600 one by one. You will enjoy and understand fabric by the time you finish this one. You can even like basically explain, advise, consult. Come to DP700 to learn it as well. So those series is teaching by showing. It's not just talking and doing all of those things. And it kind of like have an in-depth experience in explaining stuff, I guess. So this particular one should be able to help you. I don't know where to put this. maybe in the chat, or where can we put this now?
Yeah,
So
you
that you
can
can
put it in the
start
chat.
with that.
You can
Okay.
put it in.
So start with
Okay,
Will.
thank you so much, Bayo. I'm already learning with Wheels. I have
Oh,
his YouTube links and I
yeah.
learned
So
them.
you are in the
Yeah.
right place. You don't need to stress yourself then. Just learn from Will, then go and be building your stuff in Fabric.
Thank you. So if I get you correctly, I just need to know how to like the best, most efficient way of ingesting my data,
Mhm.
processing this data and also reporting. That's basically what companies need to see that I can do very
As data engineer.
efficiently.
Yes.
Okay, so I don't really need to go deep into learning how to use because my fear is I'm not really good with Python. I just recently started learning Python seriously, aggressively. So although it's fun, but I just don't want to waste my time doing what I don't need to do for now.
I can relate. So, and thing I can promise you is that, see, I've been doing data engineering with this Fabric for a couple of months now. I don't think I've rack my head about Python code itself. Though I know how to use Python very well. And then what I normally just do there is that I prefer using the GUI most of the time because they are simple to use, very easy, and I trust myself more when I'm using SQL to do this data engineering stuff. So I don't even necessarily need to write my pipeline in Python or something. You have options to go with SQL. You have options to go with interface, graphical interface. You get your logic straight. So you don't have to be worried about that. And if you are now saying that, okay, you want to stay ahead of the curve again, because if I want to hire two persons and the person, one person know how to use Python and the other person don't really know how to use Python, that's an extra now. So there's no point in shortchanging yourself. So the word is kind of like very difficult, right? So just try to like learn Python. I don't know where you are learning it. I think this is one of the most structured places. I've pasted it in the chat as well. It's from Harvard. That's what they teach Harvard 100 level students in computer science. So it has just 11 videos, 11 hours, one hour each. Once you are done with 11 hours, I can tell you, you can write code as a experienced software engineer in Python. No fancy stuff there. You have practices there. I think 20 practices.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much. Then you just said something now that is very interesting. You said we don't really need to know much about Python, but at least it's very good that we know how to use it, given how competitive the job market is. So I just want to ask, I once watched a YouTube video where they were talking about Microsoft Fabric, and they were saying sometimes you don't really need to use PySpark, especially when your data is not that large. You can just use the Python within the notebook environment. You don't need to use PySpark. So, but a lot of YouTube videos I see these days, they use PySpark for just little videos, although it's just for like learning purpose. So I remember you mentioned something very important at the beginning, during the session. You said um, as a fabric consultant, one of the things that we need to learn how to do is how to save cost for the organization. That's why you even had to like disable the co-pilot feature so that some people don't get to use it because it costs the company money. So I took note of that part. So what would you advise for people who are like keen on learning how to use Python and both PySpark at the moment? How would you um, advise them about both?
Okay, yeah, I think an example that I can give you about that is a real life scenario of when I was working on project. So let me tell you end to end of a particular solution and see where we use PySpark or use Python. So I come to my notebook, I'm sorry, my workspace, and then I create get data. I use that drag and drop to connect to my on-prem data. I move the data. Miraculously, after some time, my data appears inside this place. Let me show you now. My data appears in this place as, let's say, customer record, account record, all of them are entering it. To do that ingestion, data did not, I did not go through PySpark. I did not go through Python. I just use that data engine data flow, data pipeline to just click and get it done. And if I want to monitor what is going on, I don't need to be configuring anything or writing any code. I will just say send me a notification when you are done or when you fail inside my Outlook or Teams. That one is done, cleared. Data ingestion done. And I want to work with this data, right? I want to work with this data to clean it up and do all of those things. What I do normally is that I now go to my notebook and say, okay, this is my data. Let's assume that this is one of our data now. What I will just do is just that I will just load this data and say, load it as Spark. You only need 3 lines most of the times. Okay, let me just come here. Let me come here and write it here so that you can see it up here. Let's say I've loaded all the data now. I didn't touch Spark, right? I now say load data as Spark. You can see it down here. Now let me run this code. It automatically generates the code, right? So as I'm trying to run this, it's starting a session up here, then it's trying to do this. The data is here. The next code that you need to write is how to bring this your DF to SQL, right? You just need to come down here, bring your data to where do we run that thing? Uh, here. So you just need to say df dot create or something like a table like this. Then you begin to work your work with SQL. And you don't need to be select. You just come here, click on Spark, that is Spark that you want to use. You can now say join, remove duplicates, and trim this column. You are doing data transformation like that and everything inside that notebook using SQL. You don't even need to stress yourself to use PySpark and everything because what is there, the SQL that you are running is not running on normal SQL. It is powered by Spark as well. It is using distributed computing. Even though you select star, it's still SQL that is inside PySpark. Do you get? It's not SQL, it's Spark SQL. You can see Spark SQL. So it's using distributed computing as well. And if you don't want that, you already ingest your data with data pipeline. You can use data flow gen too. That one is like Power Query. People that are using Power BI before. That one too is working on highly optimized environment. Trim it visually. Do all of those things visually as if you are working Power BI data sets. Is data engineering because all the code that you are actually trying to run, you are trying to trim. It's not when you write code that you do the work. So the work that I did, I used pipeline to bring my data inside. I use data flow to transform the data, and I use Power BI to report it. And more than 20 departments are using the report. So what's there that is big? So it doesn't have to be worrying about writing PySpark or whatever. I'm just saying that it's an advantage for you if you run it. If you know how to use it, it's an advantage. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. This is very eye-opening. Thank you so much. Very insightful. Thank you so much, Bayo. Thank you.
Yeah.
Tosin, sorry, the
Okay.
session, is it recorded?
Yes, it's recorded, and the link will be sent via email and on the community page. It will be sent, and yeah, it will be uploaded to YouTube also. So you have the link. Anyways, you will get the link.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
All right.
I I registered for this meeting, so I believe I should get the
Yes,
recording.
of course you will. Anyway, either through the community, either on Meetup, either via Google Form, anyone you get it, you get the link. And it will be shared on LinkedIn also. So the link will be shared for anybody to watch. So
Okay, sorry, Tosi. Can I ask Bayo one final question? It's very, very important. I
go
just
on, go
remembered it.
on.
I don't know how okay, sorry. Bayo, I am currently, like I said, I'm currently learning Microsoft Fabric. If I haven't had my certifications, but I've not really had time for projects and like really deep learning. So I am planning to do like 2 projects this month. So how like what's your advice, like the kind of data set I should use and the kind of workloads, Fabric workloads that I can just use to
Okay.
showcase? Because you mentioned ingestion, processing and reporting. So I'm thinking um Lakehouse. I'm thinking maybe a little bit of PySpark and the SQL endpoints, and of course Power BI. So I don't know if those 3 are enough, and maybe data pipeline for orchestration. I don't know.
Okay, Destiny, you can still see my screen, right?
Yes, can see it.
Okay, do it this way. Most of the companies that you see in this world, they don't use all these API, Silicon, all of those things. At least the one I know around Nigeria and some places in Africa. So what happens here is that start with SQL. How do you do this SQL? Get the AdventureWorks OLTP database, install it on your local, right? Put data gateway on it, use data pipeline. You ask Copilot or Gemini or ChatGPT, use the AdventureWorks database to set up a data warehouse project for me. The OLTP is just like normal tables that software read and write, ACID, all of those things. Your job is now to move the data, some columns, some tables, join it together, put it inside a warehouse. From that warehouse, build a report. That's end to end. Is looking like what company do because you connect to SQL Server local instance, you put the data to Fabric, you transform it, you model it together, and people are using it to build a report. That's one end-to-end adventure works. Copilot can assist you through that one. The second one now is that you want to put some data, let's say you want to get data from like, let's say an API or something. And then during that process that we are talking about, that first one that I talked about, you will use pipeline, you will use data flow gen 2, you will use lakehouse, you will use medallion architecture, you will use that data warehouse. All of those ones will be included. Just mention it to Fabric Copilot. I want to use this, use this, use that, use that. If you set up a project for you that we do, very free. The thing is free. You can come here again and say, you can see this thing now. Let's say you want to even now say you want to build a machine learning project, right? Just come here, click on build machine learning project. There is a project here that is doing customer churn inside Microsoft Place. Just follow the guide one by one. So number one is ingest the data. They will tell you inside this place, create this thing. Once you create it, they will tell you to, these are the columns. You will see the data there. You will bring it there. Then you go to the next step. You will see all of those things there. So that's second use case. That is, you are trying to show your work around. You are not just a data engineer. You are even still okay with training machine, small machine learning model. So those are the kind of two projects that you can start with that get you running. Then the third one might be you using that New York data set, Sakila database from Postgres, just that. But that adventure work is okay for you to even start. You will learn a lot from it.
Yeah.
Wow, amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I just got a cheat sheet right now for my career. Thank you so much, Bayo. I'm grateful. I'm going to definitely watch the recording again. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'm grateful.
Yeah, thanks. That's a help. Okay.
Yeah, thank you so much, everybody, for joining, and thank you so much to Bayo for your time. And I mean, the last 2 weeks, thank you so much for bringing this to the community. We sincerely appreciate you. We cannot thank you enough. Thank you for being available for this. Thank you so much. We appreciate. And to everybody who joined this call, thank you for joining the call and your feedback. We welcome your feedback and say the link to this will be shared so you can rewatch it, you can drop questions, and you can also follow Bayo. Bayo is Bayo Oyetoro on LinkedIn. So you can follow him on LinkedIn. I believe if you have any question, you can send it to him. I believe he'll be able to respond to you. Am I correct, Bayo?
Yeah. I'm actually available on LinkedIn, but let me just share my, I think I have one more WhatsApp number here that is still like up for a while. So 382747001. So you just text me on maybe WhatsApp if I'm not responding on LinkedIn. I think I've sent it in the chat. That one will be
Okay.
okay. All right.
Yeah. Thank you for this. Thank you so much. So if anybody needs him, you know where to find him now. Thank you so much. And I want to say thank you to everybody who participated in this, and big thank you to the MCT Nigeria Tech User Group. We keep building every day, keep expanding, keep expanding. This is just our way of giving back. I believe I strongly believe the data community needs more, and that's why we are doing this, trying to give back at least to people, to everyone, move people from being a data analyst and trying to move many into becoming analytics engineer or data engineer, as the case may be. Yeah, so that is the motivation for doing this. Why we build on not just using like Power BI all and on, learning the next phase of things and know where technology is going and staying ahead of the curve. And that's why we are doing this. That's the motivation for me to do this. And that's my motivation doing it. Yeah. And thank you for your support. I will be doing that again. This, of course, is a weekly thing. So, or every other week, every week in, way out, we are doing something. So just look out for our next ad. I think we still have a session again later today, 5 p.m. So if you're available, you can join again. And that's how we go. We go again. We will not be tired. We keep going. And we're doing this for a long time, so we'll keep doing it again and again. Thank you so much. And I will say, if there is any question, we have like a minute to have a question. If you still have any question, if anybody has question, we have 1 minute.
Yeah, sorry, I have one more question. How do we get recordings for past sessions?
Yeah, everything's on YouTube. So it's on YouTube channel.
Okay, great. Can you share the link so I
Yeah,
can join and subscribe?
I will share the link. Let me see if I can share the link now. I will remember it. Think learn with. Let me try to look for it. Please bear with me. I'm trying to get it.
It's fine.
Yep. So I just dropped it into the chat. Yeah, so I've dropped the YouTube page on.
Yeah, I've seen it. Thank you so much, Tosin. Thank you so much for sharing. I will join now.
All right. All right. Once again, thank you so much, Bayo. I believe we'll still come back again and again to you. Thank you so much. Say God bless.
All right, thank you. Bye. Yeah.
Bye to everybody. Enjoy your weekend.
Yeah, bye everyone. Thank you so much, Tosin. Thank you so much. Bye. Bye. Enjoy your weekend as well. Bye.
Bye.